Form 222. It's available as a single sheet form, which was released in 2019 to replace the triplicate form. The following items are pre-printed on Form 222. There's a serial number, and those are in consecutive number series. There's a the pharmacy name and address is listed. The pharmacy's DEA number. The drug schedules that the pharmacy is permitted to order is also listed. For example, Schedule 2, 3, 4, or 5. So then we have a chart on the next page, as well as, this is page 107 in the 8th edition manual. So on this chart, we have the single sheet DEA Form 222 example, plus we have the single sheet DEA Form 222 Schedule 2 drug transactions. So the action might look like the pharmacy orders drugs from a supplier. Then on the original form, the supplier keeps the original, and then the photocopy would go to the pharmacy and the DEA. Then if the pharmacy returns unused drugs back to the supplier, then the pharmacy would keep the original form, and the photocopies would go to the supplier and the DEA. If the action is that the pharmacy sends unused drugs back to reverse distributor for disposal, then the pharmacy again would keep the original form, and then the photocopy would go to the reverse distributor as well as the DEA. If the action is that the pharmacy sells or lends drugs to another pharmacy, like in their chain, then the original form would be kept by the supplying pharmacy. The photocopy would go to the receiving pharmacy in the chain, and also a photocopy would go to the DEA. And then the last example of an action would be that if the pharmacy sells or lends drugs to a physician for administration or dispensing, then the pharmacy keeps the original form, and then a photocopy goes to the physician and the DEA. So then we have some steps to order Schedule 2 drugs with the Form 222. So the purchaser must fill out the following using a typewriter or a pen or a computer. So they have to put the name and address of the supplier, the name of the number of packages, the size of the packages, the drug name and strength. Each item must be on a separate line. Don't skip any lines. The number of lines completed in the space is going to be written at the bottom of the form. The DEA registration or person with the power of attorney must, the DEA registrant or the person with the power of attorney has to sign the bottom of the form and then date it. And if a mistake is made, you have to write void on the form and start over with a new form. Then you make a copy of the original form and keep that for 3 years. Then you submit the original to the supplier. Then what does the supplier do? So if any required fields are missing, or if the form is sloppy and not legible, they would return the form to the purchaser, which the purchaser is usually the pharmacy. Minor errors could be corrected. Then they would fill in the NDC on the form that that they filled the order with, the number of containers for each item, and the date that they shipped it. If they're unable to provide the entire quantity, they could provide a partial shipment and supply the balance within 60 days. Or they could endorse or send the order to another supplier to fill. Shipments can only be delivered to the DEA registered address. Deliver the scheduled drugs to the purchaser in a separate container from non-controlled drugs or OTC products. And then the supplier would keep the original Form 222 for 3 years. And they would send a copy of Form 222 to the DEA by the end of the month in which the order was filled. And then what does the purchaser do when the order arrives? So when the order arrives, it has to be checked in by the pharmacist. They record the following on the purchaser copy of Form 222. They record the number of commercial or bulk containers received and the date received. So then the next section looks at Electronic Controlled Substance Ordering System, the CSOS, the Electronic Controlled Substance Ordering System. So the Controlled Substance Ordering System, the CSOS, is the electronic equivalent to the Form 222 and allows for electronic ordering of Schedule 1 and 2 drugs. The CSOS can be used to order Schedule 3 through 5 drugs also, but it is not required. Each person authorized to place orders for Schedule 1 and 2 drugs must obtain a personal digital certificate to sign orders. For example, the registrant and any individuals granted power of attorney. Digital certificates can't be shared. So when using the CSOS, the Controlled Substance Ordering System, the purchaser creates an electronic order using DEA-approved software. So when the order is complete, the purchaser will sign it with their unique digital certificate and electronically transmit it to the supplier. Then the supplier receives the order, verifies the certificate, fills the order. The supplier must report the transaction to the DEA within 2 business days from the date the order was filled. Some advantages of the Controlled Substance Ordering System that's electronic. We have reduced ordering errors, decreased paperwork, reduced admin costs, faster drug delivery. There's the potential for even next day or 2-day delivery. Easy to use, allowing for more frequent ordering. So how do we cancel or void a controlled substance order? So a pharmacy or a purchaser can cancel all or part of a controlled substance order by notifying the supplier, like Cardinal or McKesson, in writing. The supplier must indicate, so they have to indicate the cancellation on the original 222 form by drawing a line through the canceled item or items and writing canceled in the space for the number of items shipped. A supplier can void part or all of an order by notifying the purchaser, the pharmacy, in writing. The supplier must draw a line through the canceled items and print void in the space for the number of items shipped. Alternatively, if the supplier cannot fulfill an order, they can endorse or transfer the order to another supplier that can fulfill it. This only applies if the order was placed using a paper Form 222. If Form 222 is illegible, incomplete, or altered, the supplier returns the original to the purchaser with the rationale for not filling the order. The purchaser must keep the original Form 222. An electronic order is invalid If any required data field is empty, if it is not signed with a DEA sanctioned digital certificate, if the digital certificate has expired, or if the purchaser's digital signature is not validated. The supplier can refuse to fill an order for any reason and also must provide the purchaser with a statement of the occurrence. The purchaser must electronically link this statement to the original order. Invalid electronic orders cannot be corrected. The purchaser must submit a new order. The supplier is not required to keep a record of any unfulfilled orders, but the purchaser must keep an electronic copy of the voided order. If a supplier partially voids an order, the supplier must indicate nothing was shipped for each voided item in the linked record. What happens if there's a lost or stolen DEA Form 222 or electronic records? So if a completed Form 222 is lost or stolen, the purchaser must resubmit the order with a new Form 222 to the supplier. The pharmacy must provide a statement to the distributor with a new Form 222 containing the following information: the serial number on the original form, the date of the original order, a statement that the controlled substances were not received. The pharmacy must keep a copy of this statement with a copy of the original order and the second order. If unused forms are discovered to be lost or stolen, the pharmacy must immediately notify the local DEA diversion field office. The serial number for each lost or stolen form must be provided unless an entire book or multiple books of forms are missing and the serial numbers are unknown. If the serial numbers are unknown, then the pharmacy must provide the approximate date that the DEA issued the forms. If an electronic order is lost, the purchaser must provide a signed statement to the supplier stating that the fulfilled order was not received. This statement must contain the unique tracking number and the date of the lost order. If a replacement order is created, the purchaser must electronically link the new order with a record of the lost order and the signed statement. Distribution of controlled substances between DEA registrants. A pharmacy can transfer controlled substances to another pharmacy, the original supplier, or the manufacturer. A DEA Form 222 or CSOS must be used to transfer Schedule 1 and 2 drugs. An invoice or CSOS is used to transfer Schedule 3 through 5 drugs and must contain the following information: drug name, dosage form, strength, and quantity. Date of controlled substance transfer, recipient name, address, and DEA number. Records of these transfers, inventory, Form 222, invoice, must be kept for at least 3 years. What happens if the pharmacy goes out of business or the pharmacy is selling controlled substances? Alright, well, let's talk about pharmacy going out of business. If a pharmacy goes out of business or is acquired by new ownership, the pharmacy can transfer controlled substances to the new pharmacy once the DEA number is confirmed. A complete inventory is taken and used as the transferring registrant's final inventory and as the initial inventory for the acquiring registrant. The inventory is not sent to the DEA. Each pharmacy must maintain a copy of the inventory records for at least 3 years. Inventories are taken at either the opening or closing of the business day, and the time taken, opening or closing, must be recorded on the inventory. The pharmacy selling controlled substances. A pharmacy can sell controlled substances to other pharmacies or prescribers without registering as a distributor, provided both parties are registered with the DEA to dispense controlled substances. The total quantity sold cannot exceed 5% of the total quantity dispensed each year by the selling pharmacy. If a pharmacy is selling Schedule II drugs, a Form 222 must be used. The pharmacy selling the Schedule II drugs is responsible for forwarding a photocopy of Form 222 to the DEA by the end of the month. A healthcare practitioner cannot write a prescription to obtain controlled substances for the purpose of stocking them for office use or to dispense directly to patients. The practitioner would need to purchase the controlled substances from a pharmacy or wholesaler.